do you have a fertility block? And if you do, what is it and how can you get past it? What are people talking about? And the thing is, there are fertility blocks. I would also like to offer that some of us, most of us, will have fertility blocks that are actually fertility gateways. They're not supposed to be blocks designed to stop you from breaking that wall down and getting to your pregnancy. In fact, what they're there for is to help you to have an opportunity to focus in on discovering something about yourself that means that you have an opportunity to heal it or to work with it or to expand it, to change it in a way that brings you to a place that gives you a new perspective or a new attitude, a new way of doing things, a freedom from something that was holding you back before, a change in your belief system, anything like that, that is there because a part of you has, on some level, on some spiritual level, on some unconscious level, decided, I want to pitch for greater things. I want the best versions of things. I want to keep exploring. I want to keep playing. I want to keep learning. And yeah, I want to figure this stuff out. I don't want to just have the mundane. I want to expand. So in doing so, we manifest and attract to ourselves opportunities for that growth, for that expansion. And unfortunately for us, these processes are not straightforward. They are not easy. We don't find them easy. They're quite brutal. Learning stuff, figuring stuff out often looks like some kind of breakdown or meltdown, pain, trauma, uncertainty, something like that. Some kind of challenge, which means we have to dig deep into our resources and realize that there's loads of other cool stuff in our toolkit that we haven't really been motivated or needed to work with before. In doing so, we become a better version of ourselves, not just so that we can perhaps be a better parent, but so that we can better enjoy our lives, whether we become parents or not. But often, for the sake of fertility, these are often the gateways. So it isn't so much that you have a block, it is that you have a potential opportunity to figure something out that is going to line you up with the emotional experience that you're looking for. So say, for example, you've got this sense that you want to have an experience of motherhood that brings like really deep connection and really a lot of love and a lot of fun. And that sounds very generic. That sounds really obvious. Surely everyone's doing it for that. Not necessarily. There are lots of people going into it with different unconscious motivations and definitely different unconscious limitations for how much they want to grow, how much they want to change, how much they want to adapt, without realizing that their experience of parenthood may well be nothing like what they're actually hoping to have. So the end outcome experience for someone like you or I may be, I would like to have such intimate connection that it feels incredible, that it feels like intimacy and love and knowledge and knowing somebody, and it feels like closeness, it feels like a sense of belonging, it feels expansive. And if you're going to have that, you're gonna need to know things about yourself. You're gonna need to understand things about yourself in order to handle yourself and perceive things in a way that means you have a better experience when you are tested by many of the things that come with parenthood. So I'll give you an example. So somebody who has a really busy head and they often feel very stressed, and it's really easy for them to feel very anxious about stuff. Now, the impact of that would mean that when they have a child, it's very likely that having that child would cause them to feel a greater level of that stress and anxiety, trying to keep in control of things, trying to feel on top of things, trying to feel like you're doing enough, chasing your own tail all of the time. If you feel like that generally in normal life, it's very likely that that's only going to feel harder on you when you have a baby. And if there's another part of you that says, hey, I've got your back. I would like you to have some freedom from this prison that you keep yourself in, or these limiting beliefs that you have around what needs to happen in a certain way and what makes you feel safe and secure. I would like you to feel more freedom around that and more ease. And in order to do that, this is going to be your fertility block. But I would say this isn't a block, this is the gateway. So she realizes that she's not getting pregnant, and one of the things that causes infertility, particularly unexplained infertility, is an issue with the luteal phase, whereby you're making a constant oversupply of cortisol, which really impacts the way that your progesterone is made and how steady that progesterone is in the second half of your cycle. So for these women, they chart their temperatures, and you'll see after ovulation it just goes really zigzaggy and crazy, and implantation isn't steady. There's no safe, stable space in the body because there are all these cortisol spikes. Now, if that woman decides, I'm going to use that motivation to learn how to find ways to feel more centered and more calm. I'm going to do things that ground me. I am going to learn how to change some of my limiting beliefs around what keeps me safe, and does that work and starts to feel like her center changes. She starts to feel better. She starts to have a new attitude. She starts to have new beliefs about things. Her experience changes. Her demeanor changes. Her ability to look at things in various ways will change to prepare her for the motherhood experience that she's always wanted. So in doing so, she does that work, she progresses herself, her cycle settles, she conceives, and then she can go through her pregnancy and beyond, continuing to learn and apply these tools. So I would say that's not a block, that's a gateway. That's something that some part of you knows that you need and want to do to get where you're trying to go. A true fertility block is when a woman absolutely refuses to look at the things that are really causing the problem. So any gateway can be a block if you're not up for looking at it. So, for example, that same woman might feel very, very stressed and anxious about everything, and that is her kind of status quo. That's what she does, that's how she rolls. And then she knows that this is problematic, but she doesn't want to know. So instead she goes into her analytical brain of, what can I do? What can I add? What more action can I take? And she becomes more and more frantic, trying to do all the things and attending all different appointments and trying all different therapies and adding 100 supplements and doing this diet. And what she's not realizing is that she's becoming more and more tense and stressed, and there is no judgment for that. We've all done a version of that, whether it's more extreme or more minimal, but we all do that franticness. And the true fertility blocks are where those women absolutely do not want to look at what it is that's really causing them the problem. They want it to be anything but that. Anything but that thing. And it could be something emotional, it could be something physical, spiritual, but generally where there's a tension and you can feel that you're triggered, or you're doing a push-pull by the idea that it's something that you don't want to look at. So that woman that I'm talking about, that version, this example, she would be the kind of person who she would absolutely poo-poo that. She wouldn't entertain it for a second. She wouldn't be aware that she's continuing to get more and more wound up and more stressed, and she's trying more and more things and things are not working, and she's feeling more and more out of control. And the more things she does to try to action her way into feeling in control and feeling safe, the more it doesn't work and the more out of control she feels, yet she still will not action that. And that would be a fertility block. So that's the difference between the block and the gateway, is basically an openness to be ready to look at some of those things and look at the reasons why you might be going through what you're doing. And also to think, maybe this isn't here to screw me over. Maybe this isn't here to stop me from getting where I want to go. Maybe this is here breadcrumb trail me and pave the way for me to have the end outcome experience that I truly want, that I truly know I should be able to have. Because if I'm going to be a mum, I would love it to be like this or like that. I don't want to be a mum based on some of the things that I do with myself right now, that I would apply to that would just bring me more suffering and keep me away from the experience that I really truly want to have. So it is about being honest with yourself. It is about checking in. And it is about being aware, what are your triggers? What is it that you're having an emotional reaction to that is stinging you the most? So what it really comes down to is being as honest and open with yourself as you can be. And remembering that your body, your mind, your soul is trying to guide you to your answers. It is trying to pave the way for you to understand. So it isn't against you. It isn't working against you. Where are your triggers? Where are you feeling things? So say, for example, a woman is saying to me, I hate my body is against me, my body hates me, and it always has done, and this has always been a problem, and now it's ruining my chances of getting pregnant as well. Why won't it just work for me? Now, when you observe, if you're that woman, you observe that the feeling of how your body is working against you is the trigger, because that brings the biggest sting. That brings the most, I'm angry, I'm emotional, I feel a strong reaction to that. So where is your strong reaction? So for that woman, she's thinking, my body is against me. I've got to fight through this and fight against my body. And I almost have to become quite authoritarian, and it's like a dictatorship. I'm going to put this in and you are going to give me the results. Now, that could become a block if you continue down that road. The opportunity or the gateway is actually, how about your body is struggling? Your body is doing its best with the tools that it's got. Your body has gone off track somewhere and it doesn't know how to come back, and it needs your guidance. It needs you to team up with it. That your body is never out trying to sabotage you. Your body is working with the tools that it has emotionally and physically, and it may be that there is something there for you to change direction on, change the perspective, that perhaps actually your body has always tried to do the right thing by you. With everything that it has tried to work with what you've given it, or it's rejected something that actually it's saying, this isn't the right fit for me, I need a new way. Or maybe your body is asking for your teamwork, for your forgiveness, for your compassion, for you to think of it as an ally, for you to scoop it like a child and put it under your wing and say, you know what, I'm going to nurture you, I'm going to look after you. Where have I not been looked after in the past? Where would I like to be looked after? How would I like to treat myself, to support myself? Am I bullying my body? That is an example. So look at where your triggers are. Where do you have the strongest emotional response? And that will be your first clue as to where your blocks or your gateways are. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I wish you all the best. I wish you well, and I hope you get where you're trying to go really, really soon. Bye.